the basics of the Teradata SQL when it is compared with the ANSI SQL. Okay, so this session is basically not to give you very much low level basics of what is select statement, what is a group by, what is a having, what is a order. Okay, I hope you all know that. Okay, if you don't know, we provide you some other recordings or some other material where it will give you very much low level basics of the SQL. But here it is assumed on an average everyone knows what is the basics of SQL. So here our efforts are to understand what is the difference between the SQL what we learned so far, that is called ANSI SQL, and what is the extensions of the Teradata. So it is a comparative learning what we are going to do now. So we'll see what are the ANSI standards and what are the corresponding Teradata extensions to the ANSI standards. Okay. And then we'll go ahead with the Teradata extensions, and then Teradata advanced OLAP SQLs, and then macros, which is the Teradata extended object. Okay. These things we'll see in the SQL part here. Okay. So as per ANSI, what we learn. Okay, you may learn ANSI along with the other RDBMS extensions. Maybe if you know Oracle or DB2 or SQL Server, all those are compliant with ANSI. Any RDBMS vendor in the market, first they have to compliant with ANSI, and after that they will do their own extensions. Okay, so whatever RDBMS you learned so far, it has its own extensions to the ANSI standard. But what is the base for each and every vendor? It is ANSI, the American National Standard Institute. Okay, so they propose some standards where each and every vendor coming up with their RDBMS product, they have to comply with this ANSI standards, and then they go with their own extensions. Similarly, Teradata also compliant with ANSI, and it has its own extensions. So we are trying to see what are the basic standards of ANSI and what are the Teradata extensions. So if you consider the legal characters to be used as per the ANSI standard, they are only the uppercase alphabets and 0 to 9 numbers, and only one special symbol called underscore. Okay, once you want to create a database or table or anything, any user defined object, you have to use only these character sets as per ANSI. But Teradata, along with the ANSI, it has the lowercase alphabets and the two extra special symbols, hash and the dollar. You can use these special symbols also in the object names while defining them. Okay. Along with these are extra. You may use lowercase characters and the two extra special symbols. And in ANSI, the object names should start with an alphabet, that is uppercase alphabet, because there is no lowercase presence here. The starting letter should be an alphabet, that too in uppercase. But here you may start your object name with any of the character except the number 0 to 9. And the last character cannot be an underscore while you are creating an object as per ANSI. But here there is no restriction at the last character of the object name. It could be anything. It could be anything which is acceptable as a valid character to define the object. The last character could be anything. Length of the object name is only 18 characters as per ANSI, but as per Teradata it is 30 characters. The object name, the table name, whatever you create, that could be of 30 characters. There is no topic of case sensitivity in as per ANSI, because it is only uppercase characters you can accept at the ANSI. But at Teradata we accept the upper level and lowercase characters, but even there is no case sensitivity. The combination of upper, lower will be considered as same. There is no case sensitivity. Okay, if you want to have a case sensitivity imposed, You may go through different workarounds, but by default there is no case sensitivity in the Teradata. And if you want to refer any of the column of the object, this is the qualified way. That is the column name, which is prefixed with its table name along with a dot, and then the table name should be prefixed with the corresponding database name. This is fully qualified syntax of referring of any of the attribute. Sometimes you may refer a column name which is called as an unqualified reference of the object. Okay, you may qualify only the table name. This is called as a partially qualified reference. And once you have a database name also along with the table name while referring the column, it is called as a fully qualified column. Okay, based on the situations, you may use any of the qualification: unqualified, partially qualified, or fully qualified column names. And while writing the SQLs, if you want to include comments, you have to embed that comments within a slash star and a star slash. Whichever statement you include within this pattern, that is considered as a comment. Okay, so if I am writing in query, select star from table, I just want to describe what type of data it is going to be displayed. I can describe it within slash star and slash star slash, so that it will just treat it as a comment, but it is not being executed in the tools of Teradata execution SQLs. In any of the tool, if you embed the statements within slash star and star slash, they will be considered as comments. And object names case sensitivity. Yeah, as we understood, in ANSI there is no chance of case sensitivity because there are no lowercase characters accepted. But Teradata, as we have both the case, there is a possibility that case sensitivity may occur, but in Teradata there is no case sensitivity. Yeah, if you create a table like this, capital T and lowercase and a number 1, you may access it either with all caps, mixed case, all lowercase, and the statement is completely lowercase, whatever case it is. See, the keywords also can be in any case. The objects can also be in any case. By default, it has no case sensitivity. So the table with a capital T and the small characters, the lowercase characters, is equivalent to all caps or all small or mixed case. Anyway, all are same. There is no case sensitivity in Teradata. And if you want to use any keyword as your object name, can we create it by default? For example, table is our keyword, right? But if you want to create a table with the name of table, can we do it? No. If you give the statement like this, select star from, the table name itself is table, then it will understand table is a keyword here, and it expects something else after the table keyword. It will give you a syntax error because here the table is not considered as the object name, but it considered as the keyword table. But if you want to create a table with this name, you have an option where you can enclose the keyword within the double quotes so that the keyword's impact is suppressed and it is considered as a user defined object. Okay. You can enclose them within double quotes where it will be considered as the object name. Okay. I hope you all have installed Teradata SQL Assistant and Teradata on your machines. You just go and practice this. See, without double quotes, what's the error you are getting? And once you want to create with the name of table and you enclosed the table within the quotes, then there will be error, object table does not exist. Okay, so if you would have created table with the double quotes, then the statement will give you the result set of this table. See here, the error is object table does not exist. That means the table is considered as an object because you have enclosed within the double quotes. Okay, you can use the keywords as your object name by enclosing within double quotes in Teradata. And the space, if you want to have a space embedded within your object name, okay, my table name should be table space 1. So this should be my object name. So can I create an object with the space as a character within the object name? No, by default no. It will give you an error because it cannot understand two words which are separated with a space in the statement. But if you have a requirement to create a table with a space embedded within it, again you enclose it within double quotes. So let's start from table space 1, but enclose within the quotes. It will be considered as an object. See here, now what is the error? Object table 1 does not exist. So if you would have created an object with the table 1, then you could get the data of the table 1. Yeah, but we have to enclose the object within double quotes to suppress this special character here, the space. Okay. So you can use the keywords also as the user defined object by enclosing them within double quotes. And in Teradata, we have short form of SQL statements. You see here, delete. You can write only the first 3 characters, del. It gives the same meaning, delete. Insert, ins, select, scl, update, upd. The first 3 characters also can be used instead of the complete command, SQL command. So here, select start from table 1, scl start from table 1. And this is also a peculiar syntax. You just try it on your SQL assistant. Okay, you consider a table, and if you want to display all the columns, generally we write select star from the table, right? But here in Teradata, you may write the 3 characters command, and table.star would also give you all the columns to be displayed from the table. Select table.star. You try this. And create macro, create table. All create statements can be abbreviated with 2 characters. CM is to create a macro, CT is to create a table. So instead of create space table, I can use CT and I can proceed with my create table structure. So these are some short forms. Okay, you may use it or you may not use it. You may encounter these statements if you go through any existing Teradata code. So you should not get any confused. Hey, what is the CT and what is the CM and what is this SCL? These are the short forms of the existing commands you can use. You may use the complete command or you may use the abbreviation of the commands. Okay. So you should be knowing all these ways of execution of the commands. And coming to the begin transaction and end transaction. Begin transaction is the BT, end transaction is the ET. Why we use this? For example, if we have a set of statements to be executed as a single transaction, we have to enclose them within these statements called begin transaction and end transaction. Because in Teradata, by default, every statement is auto commit. Okay? So once you execute any SQL, it is automatically auto commit. You no need to write an explicit commit command. But if you want to make a particular group of statements as a single transaction where the commit should happen once all these set of statements are executed successfully, then you can use these statements called begin transaction and end transaction. You may write an abbreviation BT and ET, and within this BT and ET you write a set of statements. They are considered as a single transaction, and once all these statements executed successfully, then only the commit will happen for all these transactions at the same time. Okay, so these are the commands which are used to treat a set of statements as a single transaction. Okay, begin transaction and end transaction. Okay, you might have gone through this at the time of journals. Okay, in the permanent journal, if you use this BT and ET, all those are considered as a single transaction. Why they are required here in Teradata? Because each and every statement is auto commit in Teradata. That's where we need an extra statements to treat a group of statements as a single transaction. Okay. And there are some built-in functions. Account, database, date, session, time, and user. These are some built-in functions within Teradata where you can use them and can get the information of account, the data for default database, date, session, time, and user. How do we use this? With a select statement. Select account, select database, select date, select session, select time, select user, which would give you the current account. Account means the priority levels. The database, the database name, the default database name. What is a default database? Default database is a database which is made as default to your session, so that whatever objects within the database you can refer them without prefixing the database name. Okay. For example, if I have the financial database and within that I have an employee table, and if financial database is my default database, I can access this employee table without prefixing the database name financial. Wherever I refer EMP, by default it will go to the financial and refer the EMP. Even though the EMP exists in other databases also, you won't get an error. I won't need the financial database to be prefixed with the employee table because our default database is financial. Okay. How to make our default database? There are several ways. At the session level, at the ODBC level, okay, we will see how we can make our default database. But once you make your default database, the objects of that particular database can be referred without prefixing the database name before the object names. So how do we do a default database? This is the statement: database, database name. That's it. So after this statement, whatever objects you want to refer from this database, you no need to qualify them with the database name. That is called as the default database. After some time, if you change it, database, new database name 1, then from new database name you have to prefix each and every object, but in the new database name 1, you no need to prefix the objects with the database name. Like that, you can change your default database during the sessions. So what is your current default database? You can see here by giving select database statement. Select database will give you what is your current default database. If you want to change it, you can change it with the database name. Or if you want to keep it, you can keep it and you can access the objects of this particular database without prefixing it with the database name. And date, which would give you current date. Session, the session number. Time, the current time. User, who has logged in to this session. All these details you can get with the built-in functions. Let me see one question here. Yeah, Purnima, do you have a question?
My one question is, like as you mentioned on the earlier, like in the NC, the only valid character set is sorry, uppercase A to Z. So that means all the table names, view name, database name has to be in uppercase only.
Yes.
Okay. And how about, like, that means, and you said keywords also has to be in uppercase, right?
Yes.
So
Everything,
that
whatever you write, that should be in uppercase only, in hands.
in NC, like whole SQL statement has to be in, right?
Yes, yes. Everything, the
Okay.
keywords, the user-defined words, everything should be in uppercase. But all the databases like Oracle SQL Server, they have the mixed case characters also. So that is an extension of ANSI for those RDBMS.
Okay. Because I read SQL is not case sensitive, so I was wondering.
In which database it is?
Okay, so maybe in Oracle or wherever.
Yeah, those are those extensions of ANSI.
Okay, okay.
But if there is any database which comply only ANSI, in that particular database you cannot write anything else apart of these characters.
Like MySQL.
MySQL, I think MySQL is also have the extension of the small case characters, the lower case.
Okay, okay. And my other question is on this one on that this default database slide.
Default database, okay.
As you said, so like once you set the database, like change the default database name by giving the database commands, and suppose I have to go back to my default database, then what I have to do?
Pardon? What you need to do?
Like suppose my default database is samples. Now I change my database to database payroll,
Okay.
and then I go back to database default database. Then I have to give database samples again.
See, at a time, only one database could be your default. So whatever the default database currently for that particular objects, you no need to mention the database name. For all other databases, maybe they are previous default databases, but right now they are not the default database. So you have to use the database name also to qualify the objects.
No, okay, no, like you have given the command changing your default database something.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, suppose when we open the session, our default database is samples. Now I change my default data. I want to change my default database to payroll, for example, or financial. So I have to give database financials,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Go back to my default database, which was samples. Then again, I have to give database samples.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Again, you want to change your default database to samples. Yes, you have to give database samples again.
Okay. And every time when we close the session, it will go back to the original, right?
Yeah. See, if you are talking by taking the reference of the SQL assistant, yes, at the SQL assistant level, we have the ODBC level default database. So if you set there, whenever you log in through the ODBC through SQL assistant, you will have your default database set to that particular database.
Okay.
And within the session, if you want to change, you can change it to database name.
Okay. And once we close the session and then open it again, then it will be the original one.
Yeah,
also,
original,
right?
the ODBC level default database, what you have mentioned there.
Earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to show you that, as I have already opened this Teradata service control, everyone knows how to connect Teradata, right? So the service control, click on the start Teradata, it will connect to the Teradata service engine. Okay, we'll come back. We will proceed for some more commands and we'll go and see few of the commands on SQL Assistant. So the next Teradata extension command is help. Okay. If you want to get any information about the objects, you can use this command called help. It is a Teradata extension. It is not an ANSI component. Teradata has an extension called help, where when you use with any of the object type and object name, it would get you some details about the particular object. Help database, database name. Help user, user name. Help table, table name. Help view, view name. Macro, macro name, which would give you some information about that particular object. Okay, so this is an example. Help database user 01, which would get you the objects within that particular user. Whatever tables, whatever views, whatever macros exist in that particular user, it will display as a list. And if you give a command help table employee, for example, it will give you the employee table attributes. What are the attribute names, how many attributes, and what type of attributes, what type of format they store. All those details will be accessed. So the result set of help database and help table may not be same. Based on the object, you may get less number of columns at the database level, you may get more columns at the table level. Okay. So based on the object you are requesting help, it would give you different kinds of result set. Let's see. Okay, so now Teradata is running and the start button has toggled to stop Teradata. That means Teradata is running. Now go to SQL Assistant. For the first time, you may go all programs, Teradata client, Teradata SQL Assistant. Okay. So this is the SQL Assistant. Open. Now I want to connect to any of the user. So just click on the connect button here and go to machine data source. You will have a TD user DSN here. Okay, I have created Deutera, but for you by default you will see TD user as a DSN. Just click on the TD user DSN. Click on OK. Okay. So it got connected, and here you may see few databases. If you want to add the databases, just go to this database explorer window, click on this, right click, you will have a add database. Then you can write here financial. Note down please, financial, exact spelling should be there, financial. Click on OK. It will be shown here in the database explorer. Or you may write retail, exact spelling, retail. Just click on OK, so that retail will be shown here. So what are these financial and retail? These are the default databases. That means the demo databases which installed along with your demo version of the Teradata RDBMS. You can use these tables for your practice. So these databases have few tables populated with data for your practice purpose. See, if you want to see the data, select star from financial dot area. So if you see, some pre-populated tables are being shared to you for your practice purpose. Okay, so just after you log in, add financial and retail databases, which would get you some populated tables for your practice purpose. Okay, now I wanted to see what is my default database. What is my default database? How I can see? Select database, execute it. See, TD user is my default database. So if I access any of the object from the financial, I have to prefix it with the database name financial dot area 2. Right? It is getting me the data. But if I don't prefix it, what happens? It try to check this area 2 table in TD user, where in TD user I don't have such a table. But if I want to access this cust, yes, I can access it without prefixing any database name. See, select completed, 0 rows found. So it is not an error, it is giving the result set, but I didn't prefix any database name. Why? Because the TD user is my default database. But if I access financial, I have to mandatorily prefix it with the database name. Now I want to change my default database to financial. How to do that? Database financial. Just execute the statement. You will have your default database changed to financial. Now if you select any of the object from the TD user, it is an error, because now the default database is financial. Now in the cust table, it is trying to search in the financial where it is not exist. But any of the object from financial, as you can execute without the prefix. How to see what is my default database? Select database. See, it is financial. That's where from financial I am able to access the objects without the database prefix. Okay. How to see at the database, how to see the default database at the ODBC level? You can see the ODBC connection properties here in tools, define ODBC. Okay, so from define database, define ODBC, you may add new DSNs, or you may remove the existing, or you can change the properties by clicking on the configure. Okay, so this is the Teradata I logged in with. I just want to see the properties. See, yeah, TD user is the username, so the default would be TD user. Here also I can mention default database. If I mention here as my default database, click on OK. So if I disconnect now and connect it again with the Teradata, what should be my default database? As I have configured the Teradata to have financial as default database, even though I logged in with the TD user, the default database would be financial. I can access the objects of financial without prefix. So now I'm selecting database. So it is financial. I can change it. Right? Database. Let me make it as a retail. Now what is the default database? Retail. For this session, till I close this session, retail is my default database. And once I disconnect and connect it again, what would be my default database now? It is again financial. Okay, so at the ODBC level also you can make one database as a default. So whenever you log in, that particular database will become your default, and within this session you can change it by giving a database name, and after this session, once you disconnect, again it will get the default database, which is of ODBC level default database. Okay, so this is the default database, how you can set this at the ODBC level, at the session level, and how you can see the default database currently, and how you can change the default database currently. And what is the purpose of having a default database? The only purpose is you no need to use the database name while accessing the objects of that particular database. That is the only purpose. Okay. Fine. And we'll see the help command. So What does a help do? Help will give you the details of that particular object. Help database financial. See, it give the objects of the particular database. What are the names of those objects? What are the types of the object? So all are tables, only one index is there, I, and rest of all are tables. If you have views, it will show it as a V. If you have macros, it will show M, like that. If you give a comment while creation of the table, it will show the comment. Okay. It is protected or not. They are not fallback protected. Who created this table? Okay. Which user has created these tables? Commit option. Okay. There are no commit options. And the transient journal. Yes, transient journal is not controlled by any of us. It's a transient journal is yes for all the objects. So like that, at the database, all the internal objects are shown. Now I would like to see the help of a particular table. Help table name. See, the result set is having more number of columns than the help database, but it will give you the corresponding information about each and every column of that particular table. See, there are 4 columns, and these are the names of the columns, and these are the types. I means integer, character fixed. If it has a varchar, it will show CV, fixed character, character fixed. Okay. The comment of the columns, is it a nullable column or not? What is the format? The format we will see how we understand these formats. Maximum length, it means this size. If it is an integer, how many bytes it is? 4 bytes. If it is character of 25, how many bytes? 25 bytes. If it's a varchar of 152, 152. Like that. The size of the database attributes, the table attributes, the rest columns. If it is a table or a view, okay, it is an uppercase or not. If any range mentioned as a constraint, the decimal fractions. In case it is a decimal, how many decimal fractions we have to display. All those rest of the properties of the columns are displayed. So based on the object type, it will give you different kinds of information about that particular object. So that is the help command, which is a Teradata extension. And the next command is help session. So earlier we have seen each and every built-in function individually with the select command, right? Select account, select database, whatever you want you can write. Select database, it will give you default database. Select account will give you what is the priority levels of that particular user. Select the date will give you the date. But if you want to see all this information of session with a single command, you can use help session, which would give you all the information in a single row, like this. Help session, it will give you all the details of this particular session. What is the user of this particular session? Logged in. Okay, what is the account name? The priority levels. Okay, we'll see this in the DBA concept. Okay, the accounts, the priorities are the DBC, the DBA concepts. Okay, we'll see in the administration part. When the user has logged on, at what time, what is the default database? Okay, ASCII character sets is default. The transaction semantic is Teradata, so it is not an ANSYS semantic, Teradata semantic. Okay, current date format, integer format, what is the correct data set, all the session oriented properties you can see here. Okay, the currency, dollars. The formats, the default formats of each and every data type, everything you can see here, the help session command. So any information if you want to get about this particular current session, you can use help session, which would get you the most, the many of the details of the current oriented session. these are some particular things what we can use. What is the current date format of this particular session? What is the time when we logged in? What is the user? All these details. Here it is.
The help table command, do we need to specify, like you said, help table financial dot, then the object name, right? So if we are in our default database, then we don't have to specify the prefix, right?
Yes. If it's the default, then yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That's right. But yes, if it's default, you need to mention the database. To try that. My database got struck. And then on the SQL, if you want to get any help, you can write help within quotes SQL, which would get you all possible SQL commands what you can use in Teradata. And within those commands, if you want to get help of any of the specific SQL, you can write that particular SQL statement command, help SQL delete. So which would get you the syntax of the delete statement. So general help on SQL would get you all the possible SQL commands and functions. On any specific function you want to help SQL that particular function or command, which would get you the syntax how to use this command or the function. Okay. You can try this. I think got stuck here. Okay. So this is SQL, and one more extension of the SQL, Teradata, is the show, which shows the structure of or the definition of the particular object. The help will give you the details of each and every object within that particular object for what you requested for help. But here in the show, it will give you the structure or the definition how this object been created. If I give a show table name, it will give you the create structure of the particular table. So you can see all the properties here, whether it is a set or multi-set table, it has a no fallback or fallback, or it has a journals activated or not. Okay. Each column name, the data type, the constraints, and the primary index, what type of primary index it is, every detail of how the object been created. You can see here with the show table command. It can be applied on the tables, the views, the macros. It will give you the corresponding objects create structure. So you can just copy and paste it. You can change the name here, and you can create one more object with the same properties. So you can use this show table if you want to create any object with a similar structure with a different name. You can change the object name, or you may change some of the properties, whatever you want, and you can easily create an object from the existing object. This is one of the way how you can create an object with the same properties of the existing object. First we will get to know how to see the definition of this particular object, the show, and then you can use it to create it or to understand what are the properties of this particular object, all the things you can analyze with this show table output. So here to see help SQL, right? Help SQL will get you all the SQL commands which you can write, and then SQL functions. whatever you can use in Teradata, complete list. And if you want to get help on any of the statement, particularly on delete or on create or anything, just include that. Will give you the complete syntax. Okay. And one more easy way to get help on the SQLs is you go help, you go to query builder, you see the objects here, syntaxes. Yeah. You can click on any of the syntax. For example, I want to alter the table to add, so just click on this. It will show you a sample. You just copy it, or you can double click on this so that it will appear on your SQL assistant. Alright, you can paste it. So you can change your table names, column names, everything, and you can execute it so that it can give you a template to do that functionality. For example, if I want to create a table, I don't know how to create the table. So query builder, so already there. See, they are alphabetically arranged. So create index if you want, create index, create table. So create table. See, one template is already there. Just double click on this, it will get you in your SQL window. See, wherever the cursor is there, currently there the complete structure is there. You can change the names, the properties, the column names, data types, everything, and you can just execute it. You can create your own object. So this is very useful window where you can get help on the existing SQL commands. All the syntaxes are there almost. Show table, show table, table name. You can use the SQL builder window to get help on any of the particular syntaxes. Okay. And yeah. So show table, show view, show macro will give you the complete structure. Right. So did we see show table? Right. Show table. Financial is my default database, so just giving area 2. Okay. The complete structure of the area 2 table. The columns, names, data types, constraints, index, properties. It is a set table with no fallback and no permanent journals. All these columns and unique primary index. And you may use this structure to create one more object of the same type. And there is one more extension called as explain, where it will explain the parsing engine plan of execution of any particular SQL. If you write an SQL, there is a plan which is defined by the parsing engine. How do you know how the parsing engine think of execution of this particular SQL? By prefixing an explain keyword to the query, you can see the parsing engine plan of execution. This is called as explain plan, which is an English translation of AMP steps, which would give you at each step level what the AMP is going to do. The plan is by the parsing engine, but the execution is by the AMP. So we'll see each step a AMP do in order to execute particular SQL. For example, here select star from area 2. This gives the result. But if you want to see the explain plan of this query, just prefix it with explain keyword. Select it and execute. See, now it won't give you the result. What it is giving? The English translation of the AMP steps, the parsing engine plan. See, the first step is to lock the tables, to request for the lock, and then the next step is to get the lock, and then what it does, a all AMP operation. See here, all AMP keyword. Why it is doing an all AMP operation? Because we didn't use the primary index in the where clause, so select star from area 2 has to go to all the AMPs involved where they have their portions of the area table and will get you the result back. Yeah, so all AMPs, and within the AMP all rows should be scanned, and it is stored in some temporary workspace called spool space. Yeah. And how many rows are expected? 25 rows, which require this much of space intermediately to store it, and it requires these many number of CPU seconds. Yeah, finally, once it gets all the data, all AMPs are end their transactions and then get the data back to the user. So the total time, the total space, the number of rows expected, how many AMPs are involved, what type of lock it has to perform, everything is mentioned in the explain plan. So here, yeah, we'll do one more practice, like, okay, in the area table, what is the index? N underscore name. Okay, so let's use this N underscore name in the where clause, where N underscore name is equal to something, right? So let me see the result and use some name here, Jordan. So let me copy it and use Jordan here. So what I'm trying to do here, I just wanted to get the details of the national name as Jordan. If I use only the select statement, I will get the result. Spelling mistake here. Select start from area where national name is Jordan. So I'm using my primary index. I just wanted to see the result. Yes, I got the result. But if I see the explain plan, what it should show, see, a single AMP operation, because I used the primary index in the where clause. It is showing me a 1 AMP operation, okay, with the way of unique primary index access area to N underscore name Jordan. So how much time it takes? 0.01 seconds, only one row. See how much efficient it is. If I able to use the national name in the where clause, it is a single AMP operation. This is the best way of execution of the SQL. Otherwise, it is an all AMP operation. Like that, you can see if your query is going to get an optimized way of execution, or if there is no way of going for an optimization. Okay, so along with this explain plan, okay, we'll do some more practices when we go with optimizations, collect statistics, and the join indexes. But here, okay, what you have to understand is explain plan is the parsing engine plan of execution of the SQL, which shows you, okay, how many AMPs are being accessed, how much time, how many CPU seconds, okay, how many steps total it is taking, and what type of lock it is trying to obtain on the object. Everything you can see in the explain plan result. Like this. And these are some equivalent operators. We know what all these operators: equal to, greater than, less than, that is not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So along with these operators, Teradata has its own extensions where you can use EQ instead of an equal symbol, NE not equal to, okay, instead of this less than, greater than combination, or you may use a caret symbol with an equal to or not with equal to. All are Teradata extensions. Okay. GT is greater than, LT is less than, G is greater than or equal to, LE is less than or equal to. Okay. Instead of the symbols, you may use these extensions, the abbreviations of the operators in Teradata. Okay. Why this is? Okay. Along with these operators, you may use this or you may use these. This is for the compatibility purpose for other RDBMS when we have the migrations going on. The same SQL you may reuse here with the minimal changes. Whatever are compatible, you can use those compatibility functions, and you may use some extensions in case if you want. So why we have these many number of operators for not equal? Because if DB2, there may be something else. In SQL Server, there may be something else. But in Teradata, I try to accommodate all the RDBMS syntaxes here, so that you can have a minimal change in the SQLs while you are migrating the process from one RDBMS to other RDBMS. And case sensitivity. Yeah, we know by default there is no case sensitivity. Okay, if you compare a column 2 with a small characters, means lowercase ABC, it would give you the result maybe a mixed case or all uppercase or all lowercase, everything, because there is no case sensitivity. But if you want to impose case sensitive comparison, you have to use a keyword called case specific, so that it will do only case specific comparison and get you the result once the exact match happens along with the case. Yeah. So this is the keyword case specific, which you want to impose to make it case specific. By default, it doesn't do any case specific comparison. Everything is equivalent. But in case in Teradata, if you want to impose the case specific comparisons, you use this word case specific embedded within parentheses, so that it will give you the exact result along with the case. And data types we have already seen. And calculator. Select any expression with the calculation, which would get you the result like this. Select 2 multiplied with 250, the result is 500. So you can simply use the select statement as a calculator also in Teradata. And no default databases are required, like dual, and those things are not required in Teradata. You can simply give the expression in the select statement, which would get you the result. It is called as calculator functionality, built-in calculator functionality. Okay. What rule it uses? The BODMAS rule. In algebra, we have learned there is a BODMAS rule, right? So once you give the expression, it will try to apply the parentheses as per the BODMAS rule. Yeah. Braces, and then division, multiplication with the same priority but left to right, and then addition, subtraction, left to right with the same priority. Like that, it will apply all the parentheses based on the BODMAS rule, and finally it evaluates the result. So these are the date functions. We'll see tomorrow. Yeah. Any questions, anyone so far? Yes, Iqbal. Iqbal. Iqbal, not able to hear you. Yeah, Purnima. Right.
I have actually put it on the chat also, that how to check what all databases are available. Like you added those two financial detail database, but suppose there were more databases also there. How we know that what all databases
Yeah.
are there?
You can see it in the data dictionaries, what we call it as DBC, database catalog. You can query on the DBC tables and you can get the information about the objects. I will show you tomorrow how you can see the total objects in Teradata by querying the database dictionary objects.
So DBC, it's a kind of super user.
Yes, super user, but as user can also hold tables and views, it also has the objects. These are data dictionary views. If you see database, see these databases. So by querying these databases, you can identify what all databases exist in your system. Yeah. Iqbal?
Hi Manoj.
Yeah.
Actually, I have very hard time finding translate and replace function in Teradata like we do have in Oracle. So do you have any either UDF defined or any Teradata created replace and translate functions?
No, actually, this replace and translate are not there in Teradata. We have to do some workarounds for this functionality.
Okay.
So we have some Colis functionality where you may use it for translations. Okay, I will tell you that function. You may use this to do the workaround of replacing the characters and those string functions. We'll do that. Yeah, Amit. Amit?
Hello.
Amit? Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, Manohar. Happy New Year.
Yep. Happy New Year. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question like this. Mm, you can means like ABC is greater than sorry means case sensitive like yeah. So means this case sensitive means uppercase and lowercase are different primary if we choose this column as a primary index. So means we can choose these two means uppercase and lowercase unique primary index means these two behaves as a unique primary index or these two both are treated as a same value.
Which two?
ABC in uppercase and ABC in lowercase.
So by default, no case sensitive. The values.
Yeah, values.
What you choose, column 2 as your primary index, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So there is no chance of how two values. So if you choose a column as your primary index, whatever values are there in that particular column are the index values for that particular rows.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these values can be choose as a unique primary index or not?
Yeah.
My question is.
You can. It could be a unique primary index, but both are treated as same.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. And one more question, Manor, in results, when we are giving query, it is showing sometimes question mark. That question mark reflects null value or
Yes.
it's like nothing?
Yes, it is a null value. Nothing means null value. Okay, so you can change the representation of null as question marks in the options. In tools, options, in general, here you see the property.
Okay.
Display the string for null data value as question mark. So you can change it. If you want to make anything else, you can change it so that you'll have that displayed as this particular character. But as a standard in Teradata, the null values are represented as question marks, and there is a way you can change it if you want.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Manor.
No problem. Okay, sometime we'll see the tools, options, all this frequently used options we'll see maybe after 2 sessions or 3 sessions. Okay, and then yeah, Rajwinder.
Yeah, Manoj, I have just a general question about the table size. When we say size of the table, do we measure it in terms of rows or in terms of bytes?
Bytes.
Bytes?
Yeah. In terms of rows, it will be terminated as a count of the table. But if you want to measure the size, it will be of the size, I mean the bytes which it occupies.
So that depends upon number of rows and number of columns like that to calculate.
Yeah, number of columns and data types of each and every column, everything.
So we cannot say like 1 million, 2 million or those kind of things. That's the size of
You can say that is count, that is not size.
that's count, okay. So size is always in terms of a number of bytes,
Yeah,
right?
in bytes, in GBs or MBs, maybe based on size.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. Yes, so today we completed the session, and tomorrow we'll meet at the same time through the same link and continue with the SQL. Yeah, and those who not completed the recording videos, please go through it. And if you didn't get the email, please let me know. I will resend you the recorded sessions. Okay, who already got and didn't get the opportunity to go through, please start. There is no connectivity, but still it's better if you complete it as soon as possible. Thank you very much, everyone. We will meet tomorrow at the same time, same link.